Yay, it's game 2, Team Cheesecake versus Trey losers match in Group E of the HoN Tour Season 2 playoffs. And Team Cheesecake has their back against the wall. This is it for them. If they lose here, they are out of the tournament. And their Season 2 playoff hopes are over. Tree, of course, looking to move on from this losers match into the consolation match, which is still a pretty sticky situation for them, as they, of course, would have to win that to prevent elimination, but certainly right now looking pretty good as far as this series is concerned, being up 1-0. And in that previous game, of course, we saw TCC running a pretty solid strat with a couple of carry heroes that for some reason didn't feel it was necessary to farm, even though they consistently showed that they could outfarm their opponents. They were more interested in taking team fights and dying a whole lot, and as a result, Tree got Ravener way too farmed and just destroyed their entire base. So hopefully we'll see if TCC runs a similar strat, that they'll be a little less aggressive, as, more aggression, more action, that's always fun, but you should play smart too. And we'll see if TCC can try to hold out here in Game 2, or if Tree will take the series right now. Bans in the initial stage are Grinix, Ophelia, Kraken, and Magmus, as Magmus, of course, was played by TCC last game. And no, sorry, it was played by Tree last game. They're the ones that have that strange Magmus jungle strat. Let's run them into the woods and see what happens. And that, I would say, worked fairly well. Magmus didn't really mess with the farm of his allies too much and managed to get quite a bit himself. Team up with that Ravener and become a pretty serious initiation threat with the Portal Key Lava Surge, of course. Grinix, Ophelia, Kraken, nothing too surprising there, especially the Grinix and Ophelia. We see them banned out very often. Kraken is also going to be taken out, as we've seen him banned more and more as teams were thinking, and it's a hero we need to deal with. But TCC has finished their first stage of picks here with Bubbles, Rhapsody, and Parasite. And to be honest, I feel like I've seen this combination before a few times. Bubbles, Parasite, tons of burst damage, some reasonable range initiation, especially if Parasite gets a Wild Hunter. So all of a sudden you're dead, because all of a sudden there's a bunch of heroes on top of you dealing a bunch of magic damage. And over here on Tree side, perhaps so far only Pestilence is going to be able to withstand all that burst. Hag and Torture are both pretty squishy, at least until Hag gets some items up, and then she can live through these silences and then blink away. But for now, going to be a bit of an issue for her, especially in the early game, so she's going to have to play very careful. Speaking of Hag and the rest of the Hellborn team, Torture, Hag, and Pestilence will comprise their first 3 picks. Pesty, a very, very strong pick, of course, as usual. We very often see him in the mid-roll if he's not banned out, so no surprise to see him picked up here. Interesting that we'd see a Torture first pick. I've said before, I don't really feel like this is first pick material, but this is the second game in 2 series that second game out of 3 now, I believe, where we've seen a first pick Torture, so maybe there's something changing here with Torque being considered a more powerful hero. I mean, he certainly is. The Impalement does tons of damage, especially when it comes to getting a Suicide out of that lane. So if you have him babysit a short laner, he puts the Impalement down, and the Suicide basically just has to run away because it does so much damage. But in terms of as a laning support, I'm not sure how powerful he is in the dual lane. Nice stun, decent burst damage, so he can provide a little bit in the dual mid situation, but not too much in my opinion. And I think there are some heroes that do a little bit better than him just because he does put out quite a bit of damage, but he has to be alive to do that for the most part. The Impalement will keep going off after he's dead, but if you die in non-advantageous position, then it may not matter. And of course, his stuff sort of relies on him being around a lot, especially his ultimate. So as a support, that's not the greatest thing, because usually you do get picked off and die very early and often. So we'll see how Torture fares here. Still very solid support. There's no question about that. I'm not saying he's not a good support here. I'm just not sure he's first pick material, especially with Rhapsody on the board, who I do consider a superior support. As this wow, Soul Stealer's picked up there, but this is going crazy all of a sudden. Bans Master of Arms, Tempest, and Drunken Master for the Legion side, as Ravener, Moon Queen, and Madman go out for the Hellborn, so getting rid of all the junglers pretty much, except for Keeper, and making sure that the Hellborn cannot run a jungler, unless they wanted to pick that Keeper, which they weren't able to because it was first picked by TCC. So solid bans there from the Legion side. Ravener, Moon Queen, and Madman coming out from the Hellborn, as they don't want to take that Madman on the Legion side, of course, looking possibly for a mid as well as a short lane. And so taking some options there from TCC, as they just blew through that, so I don't get too much time to go over it. But the last two picks here from TCC, Keeper of the Forest and Soul Stealer. So I assume we're going to see that Keeper in the Suicide role. It would be surprising. Yeah, okay, Squiz is their mid player, Bart Future is their support. Yeah. And Uber Gimp, they're going to be short lane carry, so Noob McDoo, once again, that Suicide role, and he will be playing the Keeper this time. We've seen his Suicide use go down a little bit since he took the nerf to his armor, and I think that really has affected his ability to stay in lane and fulfill his previously amazing Suicide potential. Now, I'm not sure exactly how good he is in that capacity, but we'll see. Certainly not a bad hero by any means, and I just feel like maybe he's a little better running the jungler in the jungle in this metagame. Of course, with Parasite on the team, not really a good idea to run him and Parasite in the jungle, or lane the Parasite for that matter. So we'll see how Keeper does here. Meanwhile, Soul Stealer going to be dual lane bottom with Rhapsody, so that'll be a pretty strong lane down here. Not too much lockdown, but a fair bit of nuke. I think this is going to be a Suicide Chronos, as it is Boxel on the Suicide. So he should be relatively okay here, unless he takes a bunch of harass damage, just because the Staccato Suns aren't enough to lock him down and eat a bunch of Demon Hands. So unless he's already sitting at half to a third of his health, I seriously doubt the capacity of this Legion side to kill him. But that's not really why Rhapsody's here. Rhapsody's here basically to be able to babysit the Soul Stealer, make sure he stays in the lane, getting levels, box up Chronos as much as he can. And that's probably a very good idea, because I've seen Chronos beat way too many short laners to suspect that he would absolutely 100% lose this matchup. Soul Stealer has very good laning presence with the Souls, but Chronos hits super hard, and with no escape mechanism, no slow, and no stun here for Soul Stealer, there's a pretty reasonable chance that he would actually lose this lane to Chronos and get killed a couple of times. I've seen it happen too many times to go, oh yeah, that would never happen. So decision to put the Rhapsody down here is certainly a good one, especially considering their mid laner is Bubbles, and Bubbles does not want to be dual lane because he likes levels. So he would rather just sit there and soak experience, soak levels, even if he's in a dual lane situation, and have somebody there leeching experience. So Rhapsody, really the only place for her to go is in this bot lane. And I do like that decision. I think that's the right place for her to be, making sure that Soul Stealer has a good start. So, Legion lane's rather predictable, but very powerful nonetheless. Hellborn, meanwhile, are running that Suicide Chronos once again. We've been seeing more and more of this lately, as Rhapsody is continuing to try to find him. And Chronos will put some auto attacks down here, but he'll eat the Staccatos. And Rhapsody now going to be in a little trouble, but actually Chronos going to take some auto attacks here from Soul Stealer. And will be relatively okay, as he has plenty of regen, still 3 Tree Eaters left and a health pot. So I'm going to continue to auto-attack this Rhapsody down, as he tries to get some lane control here and is pretty successful in doing so. Staccato stuns there for Chronos. But now Rhapsody is... okay, good. Going to eat her way through, as she otherwise could have been in a bit of a sticky situation. Chronos probably going to use the time leap here to get away, as he otherwise will be boxed in. He might just choose to take a bunch of... nope, yeah, there it goes. Now he's in some trouble. There's the last Demon Hand. So Chronos does die here because, like I said, he let himself get harassed down to about half a third health. Took a couple of Demon Hands, and the time leap was not enough to finish him off, or to get him away. So Uber picking up the Bloodlust there. Great start for Legion. That's exactly what they're needing. As on bot, Chronos should be okay, and Breaky's here, so that's interesting. And apparently Breaky and Cinder did cast this game. I did not know that. So there will be a little bit of overlap here, but once again, I took game 1, so excuse me for wanting to do that as well. In middle, as Hag will fall, there's the Leech. Staccato stuns are here as well. Run away, Courier. Shell Surf helps finish off that Hag. Bubbles is going to take a ton of damage here. Nice take cover at the last second. And he will not die. So Chronos having a bit of a bad start here in this bot lane, and Bubbles helping out on that kill on Hag in mid. So once again we see the Bubbles versus Hag matchup, and once again looks like Bubbles is winning it. Bubbles now 265 GPM compared to the Hag's 191. So certainly in favor of Bubbles here, not only in the Bloodlust, but in the CS as well. 7-1 actually to 9-1, so Hag's winning the CS battle, excuse me. Probably should check before I say things. But with the kill there, Bubbles substantially ahead in terms of actual farm. And Hag does have her bottle now, so that'll help out a little bit, but Bubbles perhaps still expected to win this lane, especially because not only did he get the kill there, but he's seeming to have a little more support from his team, and he does have a little more burst damage than Hag does, so a little more able to perhaps burst down this Hag as compared to Hag's ability to burst Bubbles. Meanwhile, over here, Geomancer, I completely neglected to mention the fact that the Hellborn picked a freaking Geomancer, which we've actually seen once before, and it did not work very well, but we'll see what's happening. And they're just doing the Magma strat here. So they said, you're banning our Magmas, that's fine, we'll take Geomancer to the exact same thing. Use your creeps to farm the jungle. And he hits level 4 here, so keeping up pretty well with the levels. He's sitting at 200 GPM, so out-farming Chronos. And not quite out-farming Parasite, because actually now he is with the last couple CS. Once again, I'm saying things that I shouldn't. So Geomancer actually slightly more successful here than Parasite in terms of overall farm. And considering Parasite has an assist, that's even more impressive. So Tree once again employing this interesting strat in which they use the opposing team's creeps to jungle a hero. Chronos on bottom taking a whole bunch of more damage, but will not die. Soul Stealer, nope, not going to put a Demon Hand out. Of course, the creeps give the Legion side plenty of vision of where Geomancer is and what he's doing. He's going to be pretty low here and won't die to Keeper, but after using that dig, he's going to take a bunch of damage. Actually, Keeper has boots, and here comes Hag trying to help Geo out, but Geo has a dig up in a second. There it is. Actually, doesn't get over the cliff. Meanwhile, on bot, Ubergimp falls to Boxel and Fusion. There's a jump in on top of the chain reactions. Despite the staccato stuns, that's going to be last hit auto attack. So nice kill there from Boxel. And like I was saying, too many times to assume that Chronos is going to lose this lane, even with the Bloodlust kill going out there in favor of the Legion side. It's not enough to prevent Chronos from being able to do some stuff in this lane. So Keeper sort of rotated into the enemy jungle here, as he did not find good farm up top, 150 GPM. Very, very sad times for him. In mid, Hag gonna fall once again. I'm just missing everything all over the map. Shell Surf will connect and the last auto attack coming in. So good pick off there from TCC. As they're up 3-1 in hero kills, but they're not really taking a resource advantage up on top. There's Loka on this Pestilence, having the best farm in the game. So interesting, they pick the Pestilence and they don't send him middle. They instead choose to send the Hag mid and the Pesty top, which are very odd lanes. You would normally see that Hag top and the Pesty mid with Torture, where that has some kill potential. Not really against Bubbles, because he's a little too good at escaping, but certainly not a bad lane by any means, and would be able to box that Bubbles out under normal circumstances. Plus, Hag should be able to win this lane up top against Keeper, just applying that haunt over and over again, plus the auto attack damage. Then again, I can't really object to the decision to put Pestilence up here, considering his 360 gold per minute. On the other hand, Hag's at below 200 and has died twice, so maybe I can. Top room going to be contested. It will be picked up by Hag, and now Bubbles is going to get backed off a bit. But he's level 7, has a Kelp Field available. No, he does not. DD Rune on Hag, putting a bunch of auto attacks there, but here comes Parasite, trying to get the Minotaur stomp, but Hag goes over the cliff and is like, no. I will not get hit by your Minotaurs. Parasite not to find the gank quite yet here. Shell Surf goes out. Will hit Hag, but she doesn't care too much with that DD still active, knowing that Bubbles can't really do too much to initiate her, and he's too low. Up top, Tower actually pressured significantly here with these Hell Cannons, taking a bunch of damage, or doing a bunch of damage. And now they're going to be killed. As the bugs go off onto Keeper, the Nature Bell not going to do too much. Port coming in to support him, but Torture is here as well. We'll put the chain reactions down on Bubbles, who is the person porting in. Shell Surf is available along with Kelp Field. There's a Shell Surf. Gonna lock somebody down here? No. Impalement goes down. There's the Kelp Field on the 2, but now there's no chase available. Keeper still level 5, and in fact 4 heroes in the Hellborn team coming in here. Looking for a chase, possibly on a Keeper who still has the bugs on him, but he will get away. Bubbles and Parasite looking for something here, but won't find it, as 4 Hellborn heroes are still hanging around. So Ubergimp on this Soul Stealer, of course taking that death despite getting the Bloodlust. Not quite able to measure up to Pestilence, but the rest of his team doing fairly well. Hellborn not farming very well at all, but doing better in the Suicide World than Legion are, so that's going to help the resources stay more or less even. Jump here onto Soul Stealer, and he's pretty much going to die as he's getting locked down. Soul Burst comes out, but not nearly enough damage. There's the dig, and there's the Earth's Grasp. Will help kill him. So, nice kill there on the part of Hellborn, as Soul Stealer was basically abandoned by Rhapsody. He did not have any mana and not a lot of health either, so it's not that surprising, I suppose. I don't think there's really much she could have done to help, but unfortunate that Soul Stealer takes yet another death, now down to 300 gold per minute. Nice deny there by Kronos. And Nature's Veil Keeper just sitting up here, trying to leech some experience, as Pesty basically has freeform. Legion not really choosing to contest this lane whatsoever, and the tower is once again going to get pushed in a bit. As the cannon's not quite in range to do anything, but Pesty now trying to keep it alive, of course. Impale Stun goes out, not going to hit. There goes the Impalement, and Teleport coming in here to help keep her out. He does have a root available. Chain Reactions hit, but there's the root on to Torture, and Torture is dead on Staccato Stuns now. Flight active from Pesty, and he will try to run away. So they're missing that Impale Stun there. Now the top tower will be denied. It was a pretty big deal. Bubbles going to get jumped over here on top of Hag. She puts a shawl into the sea down, but that's not going to be nearly enough. Southern Scream finishes him off, so good kill there for the Hellborn, as they also get a top tower, and they push the resources lead slightly in their favor. Ubergimp on the Soul Stealer feeling pretty ballsy, pushing up pretty hard on this bot lane, as he's at 333 gold per minute. No stacks in the jungle. And I don't think there were too many blocks down here. Actually, there is a stack over here, but Parasite taking both those Skeleton Kings. This is a bit of an issue for Soul Stealer, as he now has the Demon Hands leveled up to level 4, but won't be able to farm too effectively without stacks. His Ancients aren't stacked. So, Bart Future on this Rhapsody here probably needs to be doing that. Probably should have been doing that. Especially once they got that Bloodlust on Kronos. It should have meant much better lane control there for Soul Stealer, and more roam from Rhapsody. Meanwhile, in the middle, Kelpfield goes out onto Wretched Hag. He takes the stun, but there's Kelpfield, or the Chronofield going down, and Kronos will almost finish off Rhapsody, but Squiz will fall on the back. Sorry, Parasite. Just enough range on the dig there to help kill Parasite, so Bubbles does pour out of the Chronofield, but kills everything as Torture was waiting for him, and meanwhile Kronos help him finish off Parasite, but Geo getting the last hit. Mid tower gonna get pushed in here as the glyph goes off. Cannon will die, but we've got 5 heroes grouped up here for the Hellborn side. Impalement from Torture is level 3. Red Ward going down there to be able to see anybody coming in with Nature's Veil a little earlier, or Wild Hunters from Parasite, of course. Impalement is there. This is going to be a dead tower. Root goes off onto 4, as in the background, Parasite's trying to pick off Geomancer, but in the meantime, Boxel gets killed. So does Keeper of the Forest. Portal Key away by Pestilence. Now, Geomancer trying to survive will just kill Rhapsody. Is he able to get out of this? No. Leech from Parasite does manage to pick him off. So 2 for 2 exchange, plus the tower in favor of the Hellborn, as they slightly win that fight. Shellsurf coming out over here, trying to scout somebody, won't find them. And everybody's going to back off. So that's the second tower death in favor of the Hellborn. This time it's not denied. First tower of the game that isn't denied, in fact. And they will back off, both teams. So Legion losing a bit of map control here, and that's sort of a problem, as they really need to open up space for Ubergimp on the Soul Stealer farm. 360 gold per minute is pretty okay. Not the greatest start in the world, but a fine one. The issue is, without any stacks in here, and without stacks on the Ancients, is now both Keeper and Rhapsody are taking them instead of giving the Soul Stealer. It's going to be a bit of an issue for him to start to snowball, because those Demon Hams are very effective at cleaning up creeps and stacks, but that doesn't help if you don't have any stacks. Meanwhile, on bot, 5 heroes grouped up here by the Hellborn side, once again looking to push a tower. Ward of Rev goes off into the trees to see anybody coming in with Nature's Veil. And with Impalement up to level 3, still actually does not get a level since the last tower kill. In middle, meanwhile, tower going to pressure a little bit, and Geomancer going to port there to try to help defend it, but this bot tower is definitely going to die. Second port here in middle as Bubbles gets the Shell Strip away. Dig is not going to hit anything. Earth's Grasp won't actually kill him. And Kronos is over here looking for a kill, not going to happen as Bubbles has the port away. So bot tower does fall, and they try to get the kill on the Squiz, but it's not going to occur. Just a little too evasive, as Bubbles tends to be. Meanwhile, Hellborn team kind of hanging out in Legion Woods, and won't quite get spotted. Minotaur going to be taken over here by Parasite. He will see Pestilence. Puts the Stomp, does not hit though. Flight active, there's a Gore proc. And neither side choosing to engage at this point. Hag will blink away. But Parasite's on the chase. She has no port actually. So she's going to need to hide here. Blink up in a couple of seconds. There it is. And she should be alright here. In middle, we've got a couple of heroes grouped up and a few more headed over, so this might be a mid-push. And we'll see. 4 heroes currently sitting in middle. Perhaps to jump onto Kronos. Keltfield is available, so is the Root. Shell Surf gets thrown out, cleaning up some creeps. Here come the Keeper Dogs. Of course, we neglected to mention a little bit, the Keeper Dogs plus the Rhapsody Dance Floor. Now Kronos in some trouble, takes the Keltfield stun as he uses the Time Leap. Just going to get away though, just a little too fast, and of course has a Haste Root active, so way too fast. Neglected to mention, I think, the push potential here as the Chronofield goes down, but so does the Root, and actually Kronos going to die here as he gets destroyed by everything. Dig coming out from Geomancer trying to get himself out of the situation, won't be quite enough. Parasite hitting everybody. There goes a Crystal Field actually onto a bunch. Nice Rhapsody ultimate, preventing a lot of damage, including from that Bat Blast. And now Hag going to get cleaned up, so it's a 3-0 and a tower kill here in favor of the Legion side. Very, very good fight from them. And I'm kind of surprised they haven't started to do this earlier, because it's just now occurring to me. They have Keeper Rhapsody. Great combination. Soulstealer will destroy these lanes when it comes to the opponent's creeps pushing in, and they should just be able to push the hell out of the opposing team. Impale Stun coming out into a bunch here, but now Pestilence is in a lot of trouble. Shell Surf's on the scene. He will get finished off. So there goes the secondary tower. That ends up being a 4-for-0 exchange, plus 2 towers in the middle. And TCC playing way better than they did even a couple of minutes ago. I don't think I recognized exactly how powerful the team fight and the push is here on this Legion side. They've got 4 heroes here with strong team fight ultimates, and 4 heroes that do very, very strong push. So honestly, at the 15-minute mark here, with level 2 ult on Soulstealer, we're at level 9 on level 2 ult on Bubbles. Actually, that's even more important. Parasite's almost got his level 2 ult. Keeper almost has his level 2 ult. If they get a couple more levels here, I'd like them to see them group up, take both top towers and take bot tower, because they can certainly do that. They can win team fights here. The ults will be off cooldown in a matter of a few seconds, so that should give them just enough time to grab level 11 and group up and push. So we'll see what they choose to do. Now Keeper and Parasite both heading to top, perhaps looking for a pick on this Pestilence. Probably won't happen. Only they have just enough damage. There's a Minotaur, which will help, but still I don't think it's going to be enough. Now if Bubbles is here, that's a different story. He does have the Kelp Field available. Minotaur going to be taken over here by Parasite. Finds the Courier, so they know what's going on here. Courier shield will be activated, and now Pesty's like, I don't really want to be here anymore. Soul's still going to group up. And so now we have all 5 heroes here from the Legion side, and they're going to once again push things out. So perhaps a little earlier on timing than I would have liked, but everybody's ultimate's up, so that's the most important thing. Stop coming in here on top of the Kelp Field, and now Pesty's in a ton of trouble. Will fall here, no question. In the meantime, Torture's Impalement going to get nothing, as Staccato Stuns will help finish him off as well. Dance Floor gets thrown down. And Rhapsody actually nearly dying to the Impalement despite the Dance Floor, so this top tower is going to fall, no question.
The Legion had destroyed a Hellborn tower.
And there goes Soulstealer cleaning up the creep waves once again. Secondary tower is in trouble. We have 15 seconds left on Pestilence, or on Torture, and 20 on Pestilence. But that should be enough to do at least a lot of damage to this top tower. The only ult that was used so far was the kelp field from Bubbles. Chrono's going to jump in here, put the field down, will kill Rhapsody super fast. Soul Burst comes out, doesn't hit too much. Crystal Field onto 2. And on top of the Bat Blast, actually, the Root goes down, and nice Sono Scream takes out 2. Chrono's going to get chased down here a little by Bubbles, but he gets Rewind there. It's not quite going to be enough. Oh, he might still die here. Not sure. He has the bottle, trying to get away. Time Leap is available in a few seconds. Where's the Demon Hand? Not going to happen. Nice stun there from Pesty, and he will pick off Bubbles. Now Dig coming in to finish off Soul Stealer, and the Chronos actually jumping back in, gets the last hit with Time Leap. So Pesty leads with the Portal Key. Little too powerful, and a little too much chase there from the Legion side. As Hellborn, for their part, have quite a lot of teamfight ultimates too, with the Crystal Field, the Chrono Field, the Bat Blast, and most of Torturer's spells being AoE damage. So the 5-on-5 engagements here are reasonably solid. I still think I give the team fight to the Legion side. And the biggest issue there was how easy it was to pick off Rhapsody because she was so low already. If she was able to come out of that Chrono Field and put an ultimate down, that would have saved a lot of damage from the Bat Blast and the Crystal Field like it did in that first team fight in the middle. And that probably would have meant that the Keeper Roots and the would have helped keep people alive, maybe even resulted in some turnarounds. Parasite Keeper wouldn't have died so quickly. Obviously pretty huge plays there from Hag, putting a Bat Blast and a Sono Scream onto both of them, which basically killed them. Hag now going to blink away. As Keeper only has 156 gold. He's sitting at 225 GPM, which isn't super high, especially for 20 minutes in this game. Even a Suicide Keeper should normally recover a little faster than this. By contrast, his Suicide partner here, on the other side, Boxel, has 277 gold per minute, so despite taking more deaths, actually, as Noob McNoob really only died after the laning phase, as Kronos going to get jumped here with the Kelp Field on top of him. Hag looking for something, but just decides not worth it as Kronos gets destroyed. It's like, I've got a haste rune, I'm going to get out of here, and they're not going to kill both of us. That's the situation, really. Maybe you time leap over the cliff and take the Kelp Field stun. Because the generally accepted wisdom seems to be just sit in the Kelp Field and don't let anybody, don't take the stun, which is solid advice, like if you do something while you're sitting in it. But we often see heroes just like sitting at the edge of the Kelp Field and waiting. And if you just immediately take the stun, you're locked down for less time than you are if you just sit there and wait for it to go away. So, interesting decision making there from Carlos. I think perhaps, I don't know if he actually had the time leap up, I didn't check, but if he did, I think perhaps jumping in the river might have been a little bit better. Tree gonna put down, not quite gonna see Torture as Rev Ward gets put down. Parasite might have seen him. Shellsurf out there will see him, and he just gets destroyed. Ruta comes out onto Kronos, puts the Chrono Field down though onto 2. Rhapsody ultimate gonna be helpful to save him. Actually, the Bat Blast does nothing to SS as he's shrunk and headed up. Over here in the background, Tree taking a bunch of damage. Invis won't help him as it is the Rev Ward down. He's going to fall here. Nice kill there. Shellsurf on the side. Dig just barely avoided as he still has the Earth's Grasp on him. Not going to kill him though. The bugs are still there if they want to chase. And Grind Balls on Parasite falls as well. Bubbles is also in a ton of trouble. Will die here. So Soul Stealer able to port out. Still has the bugs, so they know exactly where he is, but not quite going to fall. It's a 4-for-1 exchange there in favor of the Hellborn side, losing only Torture. So both of the last 2 engagements have gone substantially in their favor. As Legion don't even take the tower here. And this is why I sort of wanted to wait. I wanted them to wait till they had level 2 ultimates. Because now you have level 2 on Parasite, you still only have the level 1 on Keeper. And I think if there was a little more coordination here, if they had said, okay, we are level 9, let's just take a minute to get a couple of levels. It won't take that long. We'll get level 11. Maybe Keeper gets his portal key for some superior initiation. Maybe Soul Stealer gets his portal key. Because I think the jump potential here on the Hellborn side is so much better. Because Pestilence has the portal key, Geomancer now has a portal key, no portal keys here on the Legion side, despite the fact that at least 3 heroes probably will get one at some point if this game goes long enough. And so Legion side at this point really lacking the initiation, it feels like, with no heroes having a portal key. Even Bubbles' Shellsurf is a solid initiation, but you see it coming. So the Kelp Field there is nice, but it's not going to be like all that surprising, and you can sort of get out of it if you're super quick on the reaction. Obviously that wouldn't be the case if they had a PK on Keeper, so he could jump in and root, and then Soul Stealer could jump in and ult on top of that, and that would do a lot of damage. That would basically clean everybody up. So if you add to that, I mean, those two spells, the Kelp Field, the Shell Surf, the Song of the Sea, and Parasite bursting somebody down, that would probably do all or mostly most damage to most of the heroes on the Hellborn side. 1,000 health on Chronos, 777 on Torture, 1,000 on Geomancer, 1,300 on both Hag and Pesty, so they're reasonably tanky. They probably wouldn't die immediately, but they would certainly get close, especially if the Soul Burst was well lined up and people were sort of grouped together. And really, taking out 2 or 3 heroes initially at the start of a team fight, even if you blow all your ults doing it, and I do think they do have the damage to do that, like if they have the proper initiation. So even if you do that, it's certainly worth it. Like, there's no question that having all your ults down but killing 2 or 3 of the opposing heroes will win you every team fight. Conquer now being attempted by the Hellborn side, as they're going to bring 4 heroes in. Double damage on Hag, so this should be relatively easy, in fact. But the Legion side are going to spot this. And we'll see if Hellborn are deciding to do anything about that, or if they're just going to keep going at it. Legion moving over here pretty much as fast as they can, and all 5 will be here in a moment as Keeper doing something, and so Hellborn will abandon their attempt. Conquer down to half health. So I'm still favoring the group up and push strat here from the Legion side. It seems like their ultimates are too strong. There's too much push here to just let that go to waste. They do have some burst potential, so if they wanted to look for a pick beforehand, I wouldn't hate that either. But the warding situation for Legion is not that great. 1 up here and a bunch down here in the river and towards the ruins. So not much in their own jungle, nothing in Hellborn's jungle. So when it comes to trying to find a pick off, nothing in the lanes either. When it comes to trying to find a pick off, I don't think there are really enough wards on the map right now to get 1 or 2 heroes and say, okay, we're sure this person is caught out by themselves, and we'll pick them off, then start to push. And for Hellborn, it just seems to be a situation of counter-initiation. Leave somebody out there in the middle, somebody like Chronos that can get hit by stuff, drop a Chrono Field, and stop everybody from doing things, and then counter-initiate with Pesty and Geo and Hag. Because all those heroes, of course, have high mobility, but they don't necessarily want to be the jumps. Actually, Rhapsody going to get caught out here. That's definitely going to be a death on her, as 4 heroes were in the middle of it.
Massacre.
Apparently the server's awful. Parasite's over here. What you going to do, buddy? You're going to try to pour it out. Not going to happen. Chain reaction stop him, and he's just dead. So 2 good picks there for both sides of the side. Crap, did not turn on skip pods on, did I? Sorry about that. And I have to say the lovely console for a couple of seconds, as I've been much better about that lately, but this time just sort of forgot. Conquer now going to be attempted once again, and Legion can't do anything about this now that both Wrap and Parasite have been picked off. They are down in resources, 4.5k gold and 9k experience. This Conquer kill, of course, only going to push that further in favor of the Hellborn side, as Legion have to be pretty damn concerned about this. Because not only do the Legion have the late game here, they've got pretty solid team fights, so it's not like the Legion can just be like, the Hellborn, there you go, Rhapsody once again getting taken out by everything. So there's just so much jump here, Time Leap and 2 portal keys plus Hag Blink. That's, everybody on this Hellborn side except for Torture has a Blink. So if you're even a little bit, and there's plenty of burst damage too, so especially for somebody like Rhapsody that has 737 health. So if you're just slightly caught out, then it's pretty easy for you to die. And Legion's sort of abandoning their earlier or even early mid-game plan of let's group up and push, and perhaps they're waiting on the portal key from Keeper, which he has now, so he just picked that up. And Soul Stealer has his, none from Bubbles, as apparently he's going a bit more of a utility build, picking up a push book and now looking for a Storm Spirit. Apparently looking to be that secondary initiation, not really a problem. I would assume that he would eventually get one. But running the utility right now, not a terrible idea, especially considering Rhapsody has essentially 0 farm and can't really do it herself. So on bot here, whole Legion side going to group up and push. I like this decision once again. I think they need to keep doing this. This is where their team shines, in the group up and push mentality. They're sort of baiting the Soul Stealer, which is a semi-decent plan. He's got 1,500 health, although right now he's only sitting on 1,200 of it. So we'll see if he can actually survive the burst if they choose to go through with it, especially if the chrono field gets dropped. The problem with that is Keeper may not be able to get in a great position to root. And if they lose Soul Stealer off the bat, then they're going to lose a team fight because there just isn't enough damage coming out without him. Instead, they're going to choose to back this off, defend top a little bit as Hag is pushing it in. So Keeper's here, second port will be cancelled. Meanwhile, Bart Future dropped once again. So 3 easy pickoffs in maybe a few minutes. Triple Ancients here are going to get taken out by the entire Hellborn team. Except for Kronos. His illusions are there. Except for Kronos and Hag. So, looking at the farm here, Hag at 480, Soul Stealer at 430, so Hag obviously doing quite a lot better. She has that Grimoire, so she will continue to do better as long as nothing is stacked for Soul Stealer, and really it hasn't been. And of course, map control in favor of the Hellborn side. As Hag has that token, she can be a little more ballsy, play and start farming in a little more aggressive situations. Meanwhile, Pesty has massively exceeded pretty much everybody else on the Legion side at 390, coming in as a secondary carry. And Kronos at 300 GPM, continuing to recover from his slow start as the Suicide. Doing pretty well for himself now at 300 GPM, especially compared to that Keeper who's at 240. And 290 on Geomancer, so pretty much everybody on the Hellborn side having at least respectable farm, if not outright good. Meanwhile, inside Shell Serve already used by Bubbles. He will port away from it, but right there's another creep wave, so Hag knows exactly where he's going, but nobody has a Bat Blast completely wasted. I don't know what the hell that was, because that wasn't going to kill him, and nobody else had a stun. It's not like Bat Blast is going to stun him, so who cares? But Hag apparently feeling like that was worth it, and now probably feeling like maybe it wasn't. Bot Tower, meanwhile, going to get pushed in a little bit. There is a Kale Cannon here on top of 2 creep waves. Bubbles is back, looking for some dump potential. Meanwhile, in middle, Chronofield goes down, but so does the root, and Chronos not going to be able to silence as the face-out goes off, but Geomancer will fall here, so nice last auto attack there from Keeper. Bot Tower does fall, and 3 heroes here from the Hellborn side continuing to push it in, as 4 heroes from Legion are in middle, going to port back now. Glyph coming out, and Chronos getting chased down once again by Soul Stealer and Rhapsody. So this is a 3v3 engagement, and there's no damage here from the Legion side. So Hellborn can just take this. Hag, of course, does have that token still, so she can sit here and siege this tower. Keeper minion's going to come in here and try to stop the creep wave a little bit. Pet's taking a whole bunch of damage. We'll put up the Shrunken Head, and that's going to be good, but he's still probably going to fall here thanks to the right clicks. And it's actually, Bart Future dies to the neutral creeps. She nearly got picked up by Torturer and Kronos, but instead getting killed by the Nooch. So base tower going to fall here really for no reason other than the fact that Soul Stealer did not have a port and chose to continue farming the middle lane instead of defending bot. Pretty awful decision, I gotta say. Like just losing the base tower there, even though they got a Shrunken Head charge at a Pesty and ultimately killed him, which is good, but it's not worth losing the base tower over. Even at this point in the game when they are down fairly substantially, perhaps especially so. I'm going to take out the Ancients here. So Legion on the back foot a little bit, and their timing is... their window is perhaps shutting, as Soul Stealer is still the hardest carry in the game. The problem is... well, actually, I'm not even sure if that's true with Kronos on the other side. I would say Soul Stealer is the hardest carry in the game that at this point is looking like an actual carry, because Kronos is 300 GPM, despite the fact that he has 4,400 gold saved up, which I would assume is going to go to a Shrunken Head, considering all the magic damage coming out from the Legion side, as yes, I believe that was just purchased. So I think what he's looking for is Shrunken Head plus buyback, as meanwhile over here, Parasite going to try to pick off Geomancer, but not going to happen. Pest is looking for Canal Initiation. There's a ward here, so they know what's going on, but Legion have a ward as well, so they see Pestilence coming in. Energization propped by Kronos, and he's also looking for a jump, but won't find it. So I think Kronos is looking for a buyback plus a Shrunken now. Once again, Hellborn looking for a jump, but Legion Ward is there. So they know exactly what's happening, and they will retreat through their own jungle and be totally fine. As there's no way that anybody on Hellborn is going to catch anybody on this Legion side. So once again, Hellborn looking to push bot. Hag still has the token, only for 15 more seconds though, so that's not really a factor anymore. And bot going lane, going to be pushed in by all 5 heroes on the Hellborn side. And obviously this is a pretty crucial defend here for Legion, because if they lose a team fight here and lose their Rax, that might be game. This is about the point, I think, where Bubbles starts to lose some of his effectiveness, Parasite starts to lose some of his effectiveness. He doesn't really become a major threatening hero. He can only pick off a couple of heroes at this point. He can kill Torture, he can maybe kill Geomancer or Kronos. He's not going to kill Hager or Pessy. At least, definitely not by himself. And perhaps not even with Bubbles. So 5k gold here on Kronos. Once again, I think just looking for that Shrunken Head plus being able to buy back situation. Oh, actually, it is in fact going to be a Geometer's Bane. So, figuring that he'll use that to get out of the route. There is no refresher here on Keeper, so that's actually a pretty solid pickup. That's arguably a better pickup. As over here, Torture and get caught out, puts the Dust of Rev out, but there goes the nice Chrono Field. Not going to save Torture here as Bubbles was not inside of it, but stops the rest of the Legion initiation. And makes it take way longer to kill Torture than it probably should have. 2 ports out here from the Legion side, so everybody will be alright. They get that pick off and manage to live. And they even forced a Chrono Field out of it. They did use the root. Top Pessy going to push in this lane. Keeper and Soulsealer looking to crown him a little bit, but no Keeper root available, so Pessy never really in any danger. As we continue to play the farm game, which really does nothing other than benefit the Hellborn side. Pessy, meanwhile, jumping in once again. There's a Sheep Stick onto Soulstealer, and then he takes a Bat Blast and dies. So, Sheep on Hag. I completely neglected to notice that, but he certainly does have it. Meanwhile, on bot, Squiz and Bubbles does fall, so I missed that, but well, not a big deal. Chronos Illusions helping take down this creep wave here. As most of the Hellborn side is down here, missing just Torture and Hag. Geo, Kronos, and Pessy are all available. As between the 3 of them, they have plenty of stuns, and of course, there's only 3 heroes up for the Legion side right now anyway. Hag going to jump here with the Sheep Stick onto Keeper the Forest. We'll take Scotto stuns. Nice ultimate there from Rhapsody, but will immediately get cancelled. Just gets destroyed. The Kelpfield onto 2. Soulburst not doing too much as Shrunken heads are up all over the place here for the Hellborn side. Now Bugs on to Soulstealer. Now he's going to just get caught by the Chrono Field and killed. And this troll Kronos apparently is stealing kills. That's going to be a CC vote. So nicely played there from Hellborn's side, as Legion, I think, had a bit of a timing window in the mid when they had a strong team fight. We saw them win a team fight, 2 team fights really. We saw them take a couple of towers, and that was their window, I think, to take that lead, turn it into some more farm, and then turn it into more tower kills, turn that into more farm, turn that into more tower kills, and eventually win the game. Instead of doing that, I think they pushed a little too early after their initial push in the mid game. And perhaps if they had waited a bit to get the portal key on Keeper, to get the portal key on Soulstealer, to get the level 2 ults on a couple of heroes, where they would have been substantially more effective in team fight, because I don't think they had the initiation. They lost multiple team fights in the mid game just because they don't have the long range initiation that Hellborn does with the portal keys and the blinks. And as a result, I think that snowballed into what lost in the game. So, nonetheless, TCC putting up solid performance in both games, taking them to over 30 minutes in each case. And Tree just a little bit better in each situation, a little bit better at resource management, a little bit better at team fights and coordination. So they take the series 2 games to nothing, and TCC will, as a result, be knocked out, while Tree moves on to the consolation match, and that's going to be it for this.